let me show you how you can place an image inside. We're going to go to File, and Place. Okay. And then we're going to need to find the file we want to use. If you're doing this on a Chromebook, more than likely it will be in your Google Drive. Okay. In this case, I want to do the bike silhouette. And here's the key. Down at the bottom, we have to uncheck the box that says Link, and then just do Place. Okay, so I can just move this around right there. Okay, then later we may need to work on resizing the image as needed, and we can look at our properties panel as well. But if you want to place something and not link it, just uncheck that box, and that will make it easier. The other part of this is you would want to add a layer on top. So we can go over here to Layers, and we can create a new layer. We can also go to Window and Layers. Okay, and I could call this one Tire. Okay, I could also lock layer 1 so that way I don't accidentally start moving the bicycle around when I'm trying to add the circle. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the ellipse tool. Okay, and then I'll want to switch this around so the fill is empty, and then on the stroke we have a gradient. So I have my ellipse, I have it filled, empty, I have the stroke red for now. Okay, and now I'm going to adjust the stroke so it's bigger than the bike. Remember, I want to use my direct select tool. And if you can't get it exactly right, you may need to increase the stroke just a little bit as well. Okay, so now if we want to apply a gradient, I want to click on my stroke here, and on the left side I can go to the gradient tool, shortcut G, there we go, and I can click the 3 dots here to hide options, or I can show the options. Some of these are already kind of preset. If there's one that I like, then I can also add that to my swatches panel. So maybe I want to kind of do an orange blue, orange blue. Okay. Remember, if I want to add a color, you see that little plus sign there? I can click there. And add a color. And then you can also adjust the location of these as needed. Okay, remember at the type, we can adjust if we want this to be radial. Okay, or we can make it linear. And then right here we can click the, almost like the download, to add that to our swatches panel as well. Okay. Also, to resize, we may need to turn the aspect ratio off. So right now when we size it and resize it, you know, it's pretty much staying in that same area. So under our properties, under transform, we can uncheck the box here, and then that will allow us to kind of move this kind of a little bit more kind of exactly where we want. There is a little bit of a bicycle tire rim on there as well. Okay, and then we can hold the Alt key down to drag across, and then apply that on the back end. So I showed you over here under the properties how we can unlink this, but it's still not exactly right. Now we can go to our direct select tool and double click on a couple of our anchor points here. Sorry, you don't double click. You can actually just click on the path. Okay, and then this will allow you to adjust the curvature a little bit. Okay, and then if you see here, as I adjust it, and this is only in the direct select tool, this is where you're going to have to work a little bit with the bezier tools. So as you can see on the mouse, you can see where it has the little curved part. So that lets us know that I'm trying to edit the exact shape of the path. And then to do that, we have to click a handle and move it kind of like that, so you can figure out how to kind of get that curve exactly the way that you want it. Now this part here can be quite frustrating. But it's just kind of another way for you to try to get that maybe exactly the way that you want it. Of course, at some other point, just increasing the stroke a little bit can also be an easy way to kind of get that looking exactly right. Okay, and now I can close our properties panel, and I have my bicycle. So remember, over here on our layers panel, I've got the tires. Later, if I lock the tire layer, I wouldn't be able to move that either. Okay, so these are our layer panels, and we can turn the visibility on and off. And then we can also lock a layer. Finally, let me show you how we can export your file. So remember, we always want to save this as an Adobe Illustrator file, so we can come back to edit. So finally now we're going to save this and export it. So again, before I finish, I'm going to do another save. So I've got this. Now also remember, we have 3 artboards, but I only want to turn in this assignment. So I want to go to File, Export, Export As. So I've got my file name. So now, since this is an assignment, I'm going to call this Shanna Bicycle Tire Gradient. And we want to make this a JPG. If you don't, by default, AutoCAD is the top option, and then I can't see that. So you're going to need to scroll down till you see JPG. And then click Export, and again make sure you're in the file folder where you know your work is. And then down here at the bottom, we're going to click where it says Use Artboards. And for range, I want to click 3 because I only want to export the file that I have on my 3rd artboard. And I can click Export. Now again, if you are using a desktop and you want me to show you how you can install the Google Drive stream so you can find your Google Drive here, I'll be glad to do that. So now when I'm in my Google Drive, I can see my bicycle file. Okay. The final thing that you can do, and I practiced this yesterday and it worked fine with Cameo, is you can also save it to your Adobe Creative Cloud file account. Okay, so I have this. Now again, this is an Adobe Illustrator file, so I can find it and go back and work on it. Okay, so I'm going to exit out. Okay. Okay, so I could select a new document in Illustrator. Okay, and when it's going to ask me where I want to save it, at the beginning I can select that I want to save it in my Creative Cloud account. Okay, and then you've got your Creative Cloud account. You can go to creativecloud.adobe.com and sign in. Now, why might this be good? Especially if you're using a Chromebook and later you want to go and show students or show your friends some of the neat, cool things that you have done. Once you log into your Adobe Creative Cloud account, over here you can click on your work, and then you can see some of the different projects that you've done where you've actually saved these to your Adobe Creative Cloud account instead of on your Google Drive. And then this is very easy to look at on your phone.